It is my great pleasure to introduce tonight's Alumni Public Leadership Award recipient. For many in this region, when thinking about public leadership, our minds are still often drawn to the late Paul Wellstone, who once said, "Politics is not just about power and money games. Politics can be about the improvement of people's lives, about lessening human suffering in our world, and bringing about more peace and more justice." In times where politics are considered corrupt, and the value of immigration and diversity is highly debated and contested, the life and work of tonight's first award recipient stands as an excellent example and gives us hope. This recipient and her work are smart, inspirational, and reinvigorating. Sia Her reminds us that creating and sustaining opportunities for diverse populations is valuable not only for those who have been underserved or are coming into a new community, but also valuable and absolutely necessary for existing communities as well. Sia utilizes her position of power to enhance well-being, peace, and justice for the present and the future. A longtime steward of Minnesotan values, Sia Her has dedicated her professional life to working as an advocate for populations that have not typically been given opportunities to be heard. Previously, she has served as the campaign manager for the successful Vote Yes St. Paul Kids Levy referendum campaign, which secured more than $300 million to strengthen schools in the district. She has also worked as the Education and Training Department Manager at the Hmong American Partnership and has been a longtime proponent of creating better understanding of violence in Asian Pacific communities, securing resources to combat the problem in a culturally competent way. Currently, she continues to lead in her position as the Executive Director of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans, a state agency with a multifold mission that includes advising the governor and legislator on issues pertaining to Asian Pacific Minnesotans. She stands as an exemplary advocate and liaison for those communities when dealing with seats of political power. Her dedication to and engagement in the community, in combination with her strong leadership, are to be extolled. Please join me in congratulating 2007 Humphrey School graduate and 2016 Public Leadership Award recipient, Ms. Sia Her.
Thank you to whoever decided to put a step up here to help those of us who are about 5'1", 5'2". So, good evening, everyone. It's really quite an honor to be here tonight with all of you. Let me just begin by thanking my alma mater, the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Next, I'd like to recognize a small handful of people who have supported me and helped me through some of the more challenging times in my life, beginning with my family, especially my parents, Kua Ying and Sia Ying Her, and my 10 siblings, 3 brothers-in-law included. I have also been very fortunate to have people who have been more parents than friends to me, and by that I'm speaking of Roy Magnuson and Mary Drew and Ann Carroll and Bruno Frank. Their unconditional love, courage, support, and ongoing sacrifices on my behalf inspired my ongoing commitment to the common good. As was said, I am currently the Executive Director of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans. To be specific, this is the beginning of my 4th year as Executive Director. The Council is a state agency charged with the responsibility of advising the governor and the legislature on issues of importance to Asian Pacific Minnesotans. Our board and our staff are here tonight, including one of our 4 legislative board members, Representative Caroline Lane. Also present are our board chair and vice chair, Dr. Sewang Ngodop and David Maeda, and Commissioner Kevin Lindsay of the Minnesota Department of Human Rights was planning to be here but could not join us at the last minute. Nonetheless, I recognize him because of his ongoing support for our office. To all of you who I've just called out, thank you for supporting our council as we endeavor to carry out our mission. The Humphrey community was blessed, as I was, by a tremendous teacher, Professor John Brandel. During my 2 years at the Humphrey, my hopes, dreams, and determination to affect change really found a welcoming mentor in him. In our many and long discussions, Professor Brandel shared with me the importance of good governance and good policy, and the belief that good intentions are not good enough. These discussions, my parents' stories of our struggles to survive the journey to America, and our family's modest and sometimes tremendous successes in America built the foundation upon which I make decisions as a public servant. In 2005, while seeking entrance to the Humphrey School, a younger me wrote in her Humphrey personal statement, quote, "I have clear and specific goals. 1, attain an education that will provide me with the tools to design and advocate public policies responsive to the common good, and in particular to communities where language and cultural factors hinder communication and participation. 2, attain in-depth knowledge of and develop new techniques to implement advocacy strategies to increase citizen participation in the electoral process. And 3, provide unwavering and culturally sensitive leadership for the Hmong American community, as well as other communities of color. The Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs is the ideal place for me to further pursue my goals through a public policy degree. The challenges facing communities of color right next door to the Institute demonstrate the critical need for people like me to attain the skills necessary to act both proactively and responsively to these changes, with a combination of professional capabilities, cultural sensitivity, and responsible leadership," unquote. A decade after I submitted these words to the Humphrey, here I am before all of you. I am in awe of the way life comes full circle. I now find myself where I influence public policy. As the Executive Director of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans, I take seriously our responsibility to work with both the legislative and the executive branches on behalf of more than 300,000 Asian Pacific Minnesotans. Our objective at the Council is to work with both branches of government to achieve a Minnesota where the circumstances of one's birth does not determine the trajectory of one's life. Clearly, this belief was nurtured during my studies at the Humphrey. Finally, to the Humphrey community, thank you for lending your hearts, your minds, and your resources to building a more inclusive state. All of us are the manifestations of our parents' hopes and dreams. When we invest in each other, we increase our capacity to overcome the tragedies of yesterday, revel in the opportunities of today, and prepare for a better tomorrow for all of us. Thank you.